Warrior, let's get back to some basics. I want to remind you about the demand side of human trafficking. Now, I know this is a topic most people don't want to talk about, don't want to hear about, except if it affects them directly. Something happens to their child, then they want to talk about it after the fact. That key word is after, because we need to get in there before and talk about the demand aspect. Now, luckily, great colleagues of ours, Rights for Girls, Worldwide of everything. If we educated the public as to the harms of, sex buying, if we educated our children about the harms, right? And right now, I feel like we've talked about demand a little bit, and now we got to get back on track with that, because we know right now when there is no accountability or consequences, it's about demand and supply. And let me remind you, the ages are younger and younger, the demand. So, right now in Congress, there is something called a piece of legislation by the great Ann Wagner. And I want to point out that Ann Wagner, before I was even officially a warrior and really didn't know how Washington worked, or I never really went there, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do a day on Capitol Hill. And I'm going to start a couple of months earlier, which I did that's previous summer because I did it in November on Capitol Hill. But I start in the summer. I'll come once a week. I'll just walk around Capitol Hill. I'll go into offices. I'll talk to them. Surely everybody, Republicans and Democrats alike, will get on board with this trafficking, the escalation of it. What got me really going was the fact that, my background in entertainment, people are always rallying around other countries and girls in other countries and women. And of course, we at the Warriors want to help everybody. But when it came to my attention, so much is going on right here in America, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think about things. I couldn't eat. I'm like, in America, this is happening? And then when I found out about kids and how prevalent this was and how it's escalating and there's no stopping it, that was all pre-COVID, okay? I became a warrior and set my goal for the rest of my life to educate others, to talk about it. And people would say to me, why do you want to do that? Because that's horrible, or why do you bother? You can't stop it. You can't save people. I don't like the word save, by the way. It is about education. It is about intervention. It is about pieces of legislation that can help with the demand, right? Because if we put pressure, it's very simple, on this demand and held those accountable who buy sex, we could cut out a lot of the problems. Now, the reality is we're not stopping human trafficking, but we can make a dent in it. So I say to people, if we help at the Warriors, one child a day, one person a day, one family a day, we've done our jobs, right? But I want to point out that Ann Wagner came to my event. She didn't know me. We had 6 members of Congress, bipartisan, by the way, come that day. I was told it was a standing room only crowd on Capitol Hill, and she came and just gave a beautiful speech. I'll be forever indebted that she did that and was so kind to me. I mean, because basically I was a nobody, thinking everybody would get on board for all of this, right? Would you be interested in stopping by? And 2 days before, people started calling me on the phone. Can I come? Can I fly in? I'd be like, well, there's no budget. And they'd come on their own dime. So that shows you the commitment of people working in this area of trafficking, of exploitation, how we do get this calling, how we do want to educate the public, right? We don't want to talk to each other. We want to talk to you. And then we want you to go out and talk to your friends, family members, your groups. But I want to talk about this new piece of demand. And I'm talking about it. It's been on my mind, but also because I was asked to sign onto a letter. Many groups and organizations sign on to this letter today to combat all this sex trafficking and hold foreign nations accountable. So let me review this with you a little bit. First of all, it's Congressman Ann Wagner from Missouri. I have to say I'm very impressed with her, as I am impressed also from Missouri, Senator Josh Hawley, who has been stepping up and really doing a lot of child safety legislation work. Very strong, wants Congress to get something done. Enough is enough. Let's do it. Okay, I just heard him speak yesterday at our Social Media Victims Remembrance Day, and he's got the gold star from me. But Congressman Wagner talked not about Democrats or Republicans. I know we talk about Washington, but this is about protecting people. But she introduced the Sex Trafficking Demand Reduction Act, okay, with Congresswoman Virginia Foxx from North Carolina and Congresswoman Madeline Dean. Very simply, I mean, one of the major ways to eliminate the power of criminal networks that traffic victims worldwide, because you know these are cartels trafficking people now, including children. It's become, I was told from law enforcement, it used to be drugs we always talked about with cartels, but now it's becoming human trafficking. Uh, these different organizations around the world, and it's such a moneymaker for them because nobody's stopping them. So you need a global coordinated effort for everybody to come together. It starts with, though, what we're doing right now, talking about it so you know what's going on. But the bill encourages other countries to establish and enforce anti-trafficking measures by strengthening, this is the important part, the State Department's trafficking in persons. It's called the TIP report. Every year, this TIP report is coming out, the trafficking in persons report, that assesses which foreign partners of the United States are making a serious effort to eliminate the demand for commercial sex. And again, this trafficking is fueled by demand and no effort, to end, think about this, buying and selling of human beings, such a human rights global crisis. You can't actively succeed in helping to end it unless you talk about the demand. So, recognizing the fact that the demand for commercial sex is one of the most crucial and effective ways, really strategies, I'm going to call it a strategy, for preventing exploitation, disrupting trafficking networks, and protecting our most vulnerable. And today, I used to say it's our most vulnerable communities, and yes, indeed it is, right? Our poor, our underprivileged, our kids and teens who don't, have parents watching out for them. But by virtue of the internet, let's face it, everybody's vulnerable. Because as you know, we do a lot of work with child and teen safety in families, and the predators are all over the internet, recruiting everybody, okay? So if we could reduce demand and talk about it, we could get somewhere. Even if it's a little bit of getting somewhere, we could get somewhere. So this piece of legislation, again, the Sex Trafficking Demand Reduction Act, is something very important because the demand is what drives the whole engine. I'm tired of everything. It's always slapping the Band-Aid on afterwards, arresting that trafficked person, arresting that prostituted person, arresting that trafficker. But we got to get in there before that. So we're applauding Congresswoman Ann Wagner and also Congresswoman Virginia Foxx and Congresswoman Madeline Dean for bringing this forth. 2026, it's unbelievable we even have to talk about these things. But the bill really says, a piece of legislation, prohibit the purchase of commercial sex acts or implement a policy against the purchase of commercial sex acts. Educate buyers of commercial sex on how traffickers exploit prostituted persons for human trafficking. Because one of the biggest misconceptions I've come across is, women, okay? Remember, there are a lot of teens and kids involved, and sometimes a 15-year-old girl, she'll say, yeah, I'm 18, yeah, I'm 20. And you can't tell the difference, right? If you're a buyer. You don't really care. That's another story. But, right? But if they really understood that nobody's really doing this, because that's what I hear. They do it of their own free will, independent capitalism. Why not? Don't judge. But our studies have shown us that most of these prostituted people are forced into this. Force, coercion. That is a definition of human trafficking, everybody. And if we could, one of the other biggest things that's going on right now with FIFA, right, which we talked about here on the Warriors, any kind of large sporting event, convention, rock concert, any of these things, wherever there's a large group of people, an influx into cities, into towns, mostly cities, right, for conventions and sporting events and things, influx, people staying in hotels, traveling. There's also an influx of human trafficking. So reduce demand for participation in international sex tourism by nationals of that country, because we heard the warriors that a lot of people would be coming in for the World Cup and that they think in America anything goes, and traffickers, sex buyers, they aren't held accountable. So that's called sex tourism, where we traditionally actually heard, in the United States, that people were going to Thailand and Philippines and things like that to buy those children. I know this isn't a popular topic or subject, but we've got to now, we do have solutions, we do have strategies, it's time to implement them. It's not that slapping on the Band-Aid, putting out press releases, we caught this one, we got that one, we got to get in there. And we've got to reduce demand. That is the biggest thing that can be done right now. So I applaud all the groups and our congresswomen for working on this. I'll put a little more in the body of this video so you can read up on things. But your job always is, because in the Warriors we like a little hint about them. And also to go to House.gov, Senate.gov, support, Congressman Wagner. And you can find her email online, right? House.gov. What's wrong with sending a little email? I applaud your efforts. What's wrong with finding out who represents you if you don't know? House.gov, Senate.gov, and writing to them to please support this piece of legislation. There's something everybody can and must do. And so we applaud right now, and we want to work on and help with, again, bipartisan, Sex Trafficking Demand Reduction Act. Because when you drive the demand into the ground, it's not allowed. Hold them accountable. I can assure you that will save a lot of lives. So join us. Community creates change. Lynn'sWarriors.org. And what I like to tell you each and every day is, when you wake up, 2026, get up, get going, and go out and be a warrior.